Welcome to There Is No Alternative, a podcast about entrepreneurship, where I talk to founders, investors, and executives in the consumer world. I'm Tina Bou-Saba, founder of CXT Investments, where I invest in consumer brands and technology. I've invested in more than 40 companies over the past decade. Along the way, I've been lucky to meet incredibly talented and resilient leaders who have built great businesses and well-known brands. Entrepreneurship can be deeply rewarding and also extremely challenging. Why do some people choose this path? How are they wired? Are entrepreneurs born or made? And where do they get so much energy? I created this podcast to explore these questions and hopefully inspire others who are considering taking the entrepreneurial leap. Welcome to There Is No Alternative. I'm Tina Bou-Saba, and today we are joined by Sarah Moret, founder and CEO of Curie, a fast-growing personal care brand. Sarah is a force. After spending years looking for a natural deodorant that actually worked, she decided to make her own, launching Curie in 2018 with just $12,000 of her own savings. Today, Curie is in SoulCycle, Equinox, and thousands of Walmart stores. And along the way, she landed a deal on Shark Tank. I love stories like Sarah's. So much hustle, creativity, and true entrepreneurial grit. These are the stories that I created this podcast to celebrate and to learn from. I am so excited to host Sarah today. Hi, Sarah.
Tina.
Thank you.
So excited.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. This is awesome.
Honored to be a guest.
Amazing.
So excited to chat with you. We talk a lot
Yes.
over the phone, but I'm excited to have something that we can share with others.
Exactly. Okay, so let's do a warm-up question. Do you have a hype song that you listen to before important meetings or some kind of like get pumped up ritual that you follow?
It's so funny you asked that because this morning before this call, I had a very, very important call and I am working from a WeWork today. And on the drive here, I listened to my QVC pump up playlist when
I love this.
I used to go on QVC a lot. We were on a little bit of a hiatus, but when I would go on, I would plug in, put my iPods in, lock in for like an hour before I went on air and listen to this podcast. And it's like 90% Beyonce. And the song Countdown, it's a throwback.
I know it.
Countdown by Beyonce.
So good.
My hype up song. If you were on the 5 freeway next to me and like looked over, you probably would have laughed. I was like dancing in the front seat of my car trying to pump myself up this morning. So
It's
funny
so
you asked that.
good.
Yes, I have
It's
many
so good.
songs and it's almost all Beyonce.
Yes, but you know what? I'm not just saying this. Same for me. Like all Beyonce. Countdown would be on mine.
Countdown.
Yes.
Get Me Bodied. Like these
So good. So good.
older
Diva.
song, like Beyonce song.
Oh my gosh.
Do it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Okay. Well, let's get going. So first off, can you tell us a little bit about Curie and what the brand is?
Yes. So I'm Sarah. I'm the founder and CEO of Curie. I started the company about 6.5 years ago. I worked in venture capital previously and I just noticed a gap in the market. I was trying to switch to cleaner, more natural products. Aluminum-free deodorant was one of the ones that was on my radar. At the time, I was using it's so ironic. I was using antiperspirant, but I was also using the antiperspirant that has the highest amount of antiperspirant in it. So the irony of me going on to start an aluminum-free deodorant brand, but tried to make the switch to aluminum-free, couldn't find anything that worked for me. I am a marathon runner. I'm just an active go, you know that, type of person and couldn't find anything that worked. So I kept going back to my antiperspirant and decided to take matters into my own hands. I was living in LA at the time. There's a lot of really talented contract manufacturers and formulators. And so through some introductions, found an incredibly talented team and gave them the challenge of creating an aluminum-free deodorant that worked for me. I was the first customer. I was the guinea pig. It took us almost a year to develop our first deodorant formula. And as soon as I found something that worked on me, I knew we had something. And instead of going out and raising outside capital, I decided to just bootstrap. So took $12,000 of my savings, put that all into our first production run of our aluminum-free deodorant, literally got the pallet delivered to my apartment and shipped deodorant nights, weekends, basically any moment I wasn't working my day job for that first 18 months until the business really started to take off.
That's such a cool story. Tell us about how it felt as you were getting to that point where you thought, like, was it one moment where you said, you know what? I'm going to leave my day job and go do this full time? Like, how did that happen?
It's I mean, it was a series of events that happened over that first 18 months. Actually, one of them, I listened to Phil Knight, the founder of Nike. So
Yeah, he's amazing.
he has a book called Shoe Dog.
Mhm.
I was commuting, I was living in San Francisco, commuting down to South Bay for my day job, and
Mhm.
I was listening to that audiobook, and there was a part in the book where he was like, "My fear when I was starting Nike was not failure, my fear was failing slowly." And he was like, "I didn't wanna burn years of my life on something that wasn't gonna work out." He's like, "I just wanted to start the business and fail fast if we were gonna fail." And that just stuck in my brain. And it got to the point when once we got to the point and, the first few months, it's a slow burn when you get a company off the ground, and especially when you're doing it on a bootstrap budget. But by about a year, we started to really get real traction. We had those 1,000 raving customers,
Mhm.
really strong retention. We had customers knocking down our door for our deodorant, begging us for more fragrances, begging us for more products. So I started to see that we had a really solid growing customer base and that there was a business there. And at that year mark was when I started to be the bottleneck to growth, holding the business back because I just didn't have enough time to pay attention, and focus on building and growing the brand. So it was
Mhm.
really at that point, it was kind of Phil Knight planting that seed in my mind, and then also getting to the point where I was like, I could keep doing this bootstrap as a side hustle,
Yeah.
but if I quit my job and went all in, you could just move so much faster. And that was the point where I decided to quit my job.
Yep. Yep. Okay. So before we get to that next post quitting job chapter, tell us about a lot of the things that I think you were doing yourself in those early weeks and months of the business.
I mean, early years of the
Early years, early
so,
years.
but yeah, I mean, I did everything myself. My sister was on maternity leave with her first baby when I started Curie. So my sister actually, I traveled a lot for my day job, and so when I would travel, I would have to basically shut the business down. Like we'd have to stop shipping because I was out of town, and so I had to go overseas for work. And my sister was like, "I'll ship orders for you. When my baby's sleeping, no worries." And so she took over while I was traveling on that. I was in Tel Aviv for work, and she shipped every order out right on time. That naturally kind of led to her taking over customer support since a lot
Mhm.
of support has to do with shipping. And she just continued and really enjoyed it. She is the most warm, compassionate person. She is the perfect person to lead customer support, which is still her role at Curie today. She still runs our customer support, and having her support in the early days really helped me focus on other areas of the business that needed my attention. But we didn't bring on another outside employee until after Shark Tank.
So, so in those early days, how did you build that early organic demand? It was a bootstrap business. It's you, your sister. You've got some great deodorants that smell amazing. How did you get it in the hands of people and get people interested?
Was really scrappy. Like when I started Curie, when we first launched, the first thing I did was emailed every single person I knew. Like I went through every former coworker, anyone that I went to college with, like anyone who I had their email address got an email from me. And I said, hey, I'm launching this brand, would love for you to try it. Gave them a code to try it and just asked them, if you use the code, please share on social media. So that was always my ask for everybody, was like, just please share on social media. And this was like still kind of the early days on Instagram, not early days, but still the days on Instagram where virality was a lot easier to come by. It's a lot harder these days, especially for brands. But, back in 2018, 2019, you could still go viral pretty easily and grow
Mhm.
on Instagram. Instagram was our focus, Instagram and Facebook, and really encouraging anyone who tried the product to share it on social media. And that was really a big driver of early growth, was people sharing it. There was just a gap in the market and everyone was looking for something effective.
Yeah.
I think me being a runner and having that be part of the brand story, it really drove home the efficacy, which is so
Yep.
important. And at the time, there just weren't a lot of aluminum-free deodorants out there that had that efficacy. And
Right.
so that was the first step, was just sharing it far and wide. And then I would also reach out to journalists and find, reporters that were writing about clean products and reach
Yeah.
out and gift them products. So that was kind of how we got started in the early days, and things just snowballed from there.
Yep. Yep. I love that. Like, one of the things that I think is amazing and so valuable about a business that's bootstrapped at the beginning is you have to find and build the product market fit, right? You can't buy your way to it. So you know that you have customers and, building your community of people who love the product. It's real.
Yeah.
Good.
And we also just, I think the beauty of starting as a direct to consumer business is you have that direct line of
Yeah.
communication with your customers. So in the early days, I would literally hop on FaceTime with customers. I would reach out to our customers. If someone placed their third or fourth order, I'd reach out and be like, hey, can you chat? Like, we
Yeah.
a series on our Instagram called Coffee with Customers. And if I was traveling, if I was in LA or in New York, just post on Instagram and be like, can I buy you coffee? And I would grab coffee. I would post about it on Instagram. And it was being direct to consumer is just such a gift, because you get that real time feedback.
Yeah.
Now that we're in Walmart, Amazon, it's just a lot harder. And I just took my customers' feedback so seriously. I think the beauty of starting bootstrapped and not having a board and not having investors was like, I only answered to my customers. I was
Yep.
building this for my customers, and the
Yeah.
opinions I cared about were my customers. And that is really still core to the DNA at Curie. And I think why we've continue to carve out market share in an increasingly competitive category and have really strong retention and have a really strong growing customer base, is just that commitment to providing the best possible product and value to our customers and never ever quitting. Like, we never are stopping when it comes to
Yeah.
product innovation and making our product better and better and better and better, so that we're the best product on the market.
I agree. Did you intend in those early days to be the face of the brand? Or did that kind of develop as you were out there building the community? And how did that feel?
That's a great question. I didn't start. I never started being like, I'm going to be
Mhm.
this brand. Yes, there were brands, Spanx and Sarah Blakely was someone I looked to. Ty Haney, Outdoor Voices was
Yeah.
doing it during that time. So there were a lot of female founded brands. And I think with female founded brands, there's definitely more of a focus on the founder as a personality. I didn't set out for that to happen, but when you're limited on resources, it was me. It was me ultimately that became the face of the brand. And I think that became even more important when we launched. We got on QVC in 2021. And again, who is going to go on air? So I think it just naturally turned into that. And then as we've continued, I've just discovered that one of my superpowers is storytelling and connecting. And I can connect with people in a way that I think is kind of this rallying call that almost transcends the product and the deodorant. I think we've seen it with QVC, we've seen it with my Shark Tank episode, and I've really leaned into that and embraced it. And it's very much still on the forefront of social media. Take a look at our TikTok; it's like 80% of the videos are me, and I've just come to embrace it as part of the business. And our customers just really love hearing from the founder, especially in this category.
Think that you feel relatable in a way that was really appealing to customers, like, to your community, and you've done a great job of it, so congrats. So tell us, we definitely have to talk about QVC and Shark Tank. So which of those happened first?
QVC happened first.
Okay, tell us about that.
I got on QVC. It's a really long story, but long story short, I auditioned for QVC, and initially got a no, which is you'll see that as an
Yeah.
theme throughout the last 6.5 years. Pretty much everything started with a no, and I just continued to be persistent and auditioned for QVC, got a no. We definitely weren't ready. I think I went to the audition with like deodorant with like wrapped with like paper labels because I didn't have labels yet. So it was really early on. Hey, yeah, we got to know, got a connection though to a buyer through that interview, through the audition process. Came back 2 years later, auditioned, got on. This was 2021, and personal care just was a rising, growing category for them. So it's kind of just perfect timing. And that's a good lesson here with a lot of the no's that we've gotten is like, it's usually just timing. Like the stars kind of have to align, and there's things that are out of your control. And when it came to QVC, we just came back and I was persistent and kept them updated. And then boom, personal care started to grow for them. And
Mhm.
Sarah to go on QVC Saturday morning, which is
Wow.
the best time slots, and we sold out in 7 minutes. And we were off to the races. And QVC was a big part of the business in 2021, and really like was media training for me and
Right.
also sales training. It taught me to think on my feet really quickly. You're on live TV, every single word counts, and you have a producer in your ear telling you what's working and what's not. And so the sales training through that was just invaluable. I had a producer telling me, say that again, say that.
Mhm.
Move on.
That's
And
so good.
use that to really revamp the way we were talking about our deodorant and our products
Mhm.
online as well. So that QVC experience was super, super valuable
Mhm.
respect. And then it really prepared me for Shark Tank. And Shark Tank came in 2022. And at that point, Shark Tank was like a walk in the park. Like, it's not live. And you have a full hour to stand there and show your products and answer questions. And it was a really, really fun experience. I really enjoyed Shark Tank. And the outcome of it was, spoiler alert, got a deal with Mark Cuban and Barbara Corcoran. And that was the single biggest needle mover so far in the business, was Shark Tank.
That's amazing. And it definitely sounds like you mentioned media training that QVC effectively provided. And I feel like that is so valuable. And like one of the things that I talk about with a lot of founders is you're always selling, right? And so you have to like building that muscle of getting good at it, whether that's selling in a founder facing way like you are doing and or selling to buyers at a big retailer, but like building that muscle is so, so important.
Totally agree with you. Don't think it comes naturally to everybody.
Mhm.
I think the learnings, lessons from it, both QVC, Shark Tank, and also I'm good at sales too. Like I've
Yeah.
gotten the business, gotten our products into 43
Yes. Yes.
retail doors. The lesson has been enthusiasm is number one. Like enthusiasm is what gets people's attention and makes
Mm.
want to buy what you're selling. So that is my number one piece of advice is get that pump up playlist going. Like you have to bring a tremendous amount of energy to be successful on QVC, to be successful on Shark Tank, to be successful in any sales scenario. It's number one is enthusiasm. Number two is focusing on problem solution, not attributes. And I see this so much with founders who are, first time founders, new product to market. They're so proud of their ingredients and so proud of all the hard work that went into their formulas, and they list out every nitty-gritty ingredient that's what's not in it. It's like most customers don't care about that. Ultimately, customers want to know what your product's going to do for them. And that was what QVC taught me first and foremost, was listing aluminum free arrowroot powder, this, that.
Yes.
More like, hey, are sweat stains a problem for you? Are you lifting your arm up and having a big ring of sweat? These ingredients are going to help with that. Are you embarrassed when you walk into a room because you might smell? Like, these ingredients and these fragrances are going to help you walk into that room feeling more confident. So it helped me reframe the way we talk about and market our products. That's very problem solution, and it's all about her. It's not about the product. It's not about us. It's about her. She's the hero in the story, and you're just supporting her. And that was, I think, besides enthusiasm, that is another really, really important lesson to keep in mind when it comes to any sales situation.
That is terrific, terrific advice. I want to talk more about Shark Tank because I think that this is something that people are very interested in. So, can you tell us how you decided that you wanted to try for it, and what was the process of getting selected? And I think it was you had a really short amount of time to make it happen. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so similar story. Like I said, tried out for Shark Tank, didn't get on. So I initially got a no, but they were like, try again next year.
Huh?
So I was persistent, tried again next year. I just applied on the website. So just like everyone else, applied on the website, got a call back that second year. Again, just timing is everything. And ended up getting on the show, getting scheduled for my taping. My taping was supposed to be in August. And the night before, I got a call from the producer saying that I was being removed from the schedule because there were some flight delays. Some of the companies that were coming from out of the state had to be rescheduled, and therefore there was no time for me to film anymore. I was like absolutely devastated. I was living in LA at the time, and I was 15 minutes from the studio. So instead of rescheduling me, they were like, we're just going to make you a stand-in for the season and just wait by your phone and we'll give you a call. And sure enough, a spot opened up, but I happened to be hiking on top of a mountain and when they called me, and I had 2 hours to get down the mountain and to the studio. Literally didn't even shower, like used dry shampoo,
Mhm.
my makeup in the passenger seat of my husband's car. Like, it was not the situation you would want going into Shark Tank, but by the time I got there, I was so fired up and
Yeah.
full of adrenaline. It just came through on the set.
Yeah, it's a fantastic one. Okay, Shark Tank. So tell us about what that did for the business.
Yeah. So we, after that crazy situation where I had 2.5 hours to get to the studio, went on the set. I was just guns blazing, full of energy. Again, energy, and enthusiasm. And I got to tell that story of, hey, I was hiking when I got the call from the producer. I hiked
Mhm.
here. Like, nobody has more hustle than I do.
Right, right.
And that really impressed Mark Cuban and Barbara Corcoran. I ended up walking away with a deal, and we aired on Shark Tank in March of 2022. So prior to that, I think we were doing maybe $1.5 million in revenue prior to Shark Tank. A big part of that was QVC, and we were kind of still figuring ourselves out on D2C. After Shark Tank, we basically immediately sold out. I think there's varying levels of success when it comes to Shark Tank brands, but our product and brand just really, really resonated with the Shark Tank viewer, and we could not keep ourselves in stock. Like, all
Wow.
of 2022 was basically just chasing inventory. I was flying to our manufacturer and like knocking on their door begging for deodorant. Like,
Wow.
it was our biggest challenge of 2023 was inventory. We just did not have the inventory. Had we known, like, yes, we could have made more, but you just never, at the time, we were
Mhm.
still bootstrapped. Like, I couldn't really load up on inventory in the way I probably would have had I known how big of the impact it would have on the business. But after that, once we got our supply chain figured out, we got forecasting figured out, we got a new manufacturer, things just skyrocketed and grew the business 600%. Um,
Wow.
Following Shark Tank. And we also got the attention of a Walmart buyer in this category called Naturals, which is a set in the store where brands like ours, emerging brands, can kind of come in, get their feet wet in retail and really get that I guess support from Walmart
Mhm.
that we really needed to be successful. And it's been just
Yeah. But so, okay. So on Walmart, I think, is it accurate that the buyer saw the brand on social media or on Shark Tank, something like that, right?
she got an ad on
Wow.
like, at the time, we were doing a lot of our ads were Shark Tank footage, and so they were definitely attention grabbing,
Mhm.
and caught her attention, and she reached out a cold email. Tina, she emailed our customer support team, like, our
That's amazing.
customer support inbox. I think it's the contact form on our website. Yeah, and our customer my sister forwarded me the email, and I was like, "This must be, like."
Right. This is spam.
And then I just looked her up on LinkedIn. I was like, "Oh, wait, this is actually a buyer at Walmart.
So cool.
I should respond to this." And had a call with her the next week. And within like 3 weeks, we had a PO for 4,300 doors, 7 SKUs. Like it just happened so quickly.
When did you make your first trip to Bentonville?
Bentonville was, I think we launched in Walmart in August or September of 2023. And I went out to Bentonville in like July ahead of our launch.
What
Have
was
you
that
been to
like?
Bentonville?
No, I haven't been yet. Tell me about it. What was it like?
It is well, I go there every quarter and I
Okay. Okay. So
there
like you're a regular now.
I'm a regular. There's like one nonstop flight from LA. It's kind of a pain to get to, but it's such a cute town. It is like from a movie. It's
Mhm.
quaint, adorable, amazing restaurants, just beautiful parks, museums. Like it is a picture perfect little
Mhm.
and I love visiting Bentonville.
That's amazing. Do you still do you still have the same buyer?
No, buyers turnover typically.
Okay.
It's part of, at most retailers, they try to keep turnover on the buying seat so that, it's more data
Yeah.
in that way. So we've had buyer turnover a couple times.
So what have you learned? So talking more about Walmart, like what have you learned in the few years that you've been working with them in terms of, merchandising, marketing? What are the big learnings?
Oh man, a lot of learnings. I think number one is just getting into the retailer is just like 20% of it.
Yeah.
People think that it's like, I've made it. Like I
Mhm.
made it big. I launched in 400 Walmart doors. We're done. Now products are gonna
Right.
fly off the shelf.
Yeah, yeah.
That is 1/3 of being successful in retail. It's just getting on the shelf and your
Mhm.
and store marketing, all of that. The next piece is actually moving units and velocities. And it's something even huge brands are
Mhm.
figure out. It's like it's a lot easier when you have a Facebook ad that gets delivered to Tina.
Yeah.
Tina clicks shop now, she checks out, and she gets her confirmation email, and the product arrives a couple days later. Like that is a really short, easy to track feedback loop. It's a lot harder to get that same person digitally into a store to buy your.
Mhm.
So it was definitely there was a learning curve there, and we had just kept the mind. Like I said before, always learning, always talking to other brands, seeing what works, testing everything, and really learning how to move retail velocity has huge learning lesson. And we've zigged and zagged and tried things that didn't work, unlock things that do, and then, really right now trying to scale those things that do work. So that's the number one lesson. Number two is being mindful when it comes to retail. Like, your business best. A buyer does not know as much as you do, especially if you have a D2C business, especially. You have all the data.
Yeah.
SKUs are successful. Typically, it's very unusual that you're going to see a SKU that doesn't perform very well on your website all of a sudden perform really well in retail. So
That
you
makes
hold so much information. Of course, they hold category information and they can see where gaps are, but you know your products best. And so don't be afraid to push back on buyers. I think a lot of brands, especially that are new to retail, are like just like, oh, whatever they want, like I'll give them whatever. We're just so grateful to be there. And it's like, you're going to be on the hook if things don't work out. So you put your best products into that retailer and don't be afraid to push back on the buyer.
I think that is such terrific advice. And this is something that like I see a lot, which is, of course, it is fantastic to have a big relationship with a retailer, but what is best for their business and what is best for your business are not exactly the same. So you have to find that overlap, but you have to, like you said, like your business best.
It's even further complicated with big retailers, you typically have a broker that you work with. What's that Warren Buffett quote? Like, show me the incentive and I'll show you the results.
So true. Yes.
You're working with a broker and you're working with the buyer, and your business. Like every one of you have slightly different
Yes.
incentives, and you ultimately need to do the best thing for your company. And you have to understand that what the buyer's incentive is to maximize revenue. Like
Yep.
the broker, like the broker gets a percentage of that revenue. So they're going to be making decisions from that lens. Like the buyer's going to be making decisions from a different lens. You need to make the best decision for your business and the profitability of your business. And the only person looking out for the health of your business is you.
Yes.
And you
Definitely.
can push back. Like that's a big lesson is like, you can and you should push back and say no to things.
That is great advice. On this, like knowing your customer, knowing your business, I'd love to talk to you about product. So Curie started with deodorant sticks, but you've since developed, more scents, more products. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So we started with deodorant sticks. That was our first product. It's still our hero product. We rolled out our whole body deodorant spray shortly after. That was really inspired by fitness studios.
Mhm. Uh,
Fitness studio junkie. I loved SoulCycle back in the day and love a fitness class. And so I was going to lots of studios and going into their locker rooms, and it's like these beautiful studios. You're paying $35 a class, and then you go in the locker room and it's like Secret or like even Suave, like
mhm.
Sprint spray, and it has like you have a cloud around you in the locker room and you're coughing. Like, this is a terrible experience. What if we made our deodorant shareable? Then we could put it in the locker rooms and then our best, potential customers could be trying it for free. And so we called it like amenity marketing and developed our spray deodorant, honestly, with that as the inspiration. It did evolve into a whole body spray just because of the form factor and people love our fragrances. We're like, you can really spritz it anywhere. And so that was how our second product, our spray deodorant came to be. And then our third product was our armpit detox mask. And this one is interesting. This product is super popular and goes viral all the time on TikTok. Obviously, it's a very interesting attention
Yeah.
grab
Yeah.
product, like a gray armpit mask that you slather on your pits. So it's a fun, unique, different product with lots of storytelling behind it. But that product came to be because I wrote a blog post back in like 2019 with like a recipe for an armpit detox mask. And I said, you putting your face masks on your face, like it cleanses your pores, removes, reduces breakouts, etc. Why not do the same thing for your armpits? I think it was coming up on summertime. You're showing your pits off with tank tops. Like, here's this armpit detox mask recipe. You can make it home. That became over like a year or so, became our most popular blog post and our highest converting page on our site. And so from seeing the success of that, we decided let's bottle this up. It's kind of a pain to make it at home. And so we bottled it up and that became our armpit detox mask.
So good. So talk more about TikTok because Curie, as you mentioned earlier, really grew up in the Instagram ecosystem. But now over the past couple of years, we've seen TikTok, and like, how are you guys thinking about that? What have you learned as you explore that platform?
Yeah, I mean, Instagram was definitely where we grew our audience, and
Mhm.
TikTok started to really blow up 2020 and beyond. We've consistently posted on TikTok. We've started to build an audience there. I think we have like 25,000 followers at this point. We've had a lot of viral moments on TikTok, especially with Shark Tank and the storytelling around Shark
Okay.
Tank.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of virality on TikTok, and now we're really just starting to tap into TikTok shops and growing the business through the affiliate network on TikTok, starting to tap into the ad platform, which has just gotten so much better over the last 2 years, and starting to really ignite growth on the TikTok platform. But it's still a learning process.
Sure.
I joke that TikTok's kind of the wild, wild west still, and we're figuring things out and things change so quickly. So we have a couple members of our team who are dedicated to social media and posting on TikTok. I post myself on TikTok, and we're still just, trying to figure out how we can make TikTok a conversion,
Mhm.
because it's been great for driving virality and brand awareness. Now, how do we convert that to sales?
Yeah, I think a lot of brands are still very much figuring it out. I'd love to talk about your strategy on team, because so it was you, and then it was you and your sister for a while, and then now the business is exponentially bigger. How have you approached building the team over, these past 5 years or so?
I mean, we are still a pretty scrappy team. As you know, like, we really prioritize profitability. The business is profitable, has been profitable. I'm really proud of
It's
that.
amazing.
That was a really important thing to me. I'm a former CPA and also come from the venture world.
Yeah,
To me, like, without profit, like, profit is a signal that things are working to me.
I agree.
More than just padding your pocket or your bank account. It's like profit is a signal that you have, high LTV customers, and that you have product market fit, and that your marketing is converting to sales. Like, profit is such an important indicator for more than just, the actual financial purpose of profit. So that's been really important. And with being and growing and scaling a business to 8 figures profitably, it's required us to wear many hats as a team. Our core full-time team is still only 7 people, and that's spread across. We have customer support in-house, we have operations, and then primarily marketing, which is a combination of full-time, freelance, and agencies. So we've kept the team very lean, and every person on the team wears,
Mhm.
and I think that's been a key to being able to scale smart and scrappy. And what I look for in every team member is that, like, entrepreneurial spirit. I need everybody at this stage. I know it's not going to be like that forever,
Mhm.
but at this stage, sub 10, even sub 15 employees, I think that's a really important quality for everybody to have,
Yeah.
because we don't have middle management. Like, a lot of my employees are directly reporting to me. And so I think, if we didn't have that entrepreneurial work ethic behind each team member, it would become a lot harder, especially as a remote team, to see the results. So that's the number one thing that I look for in employees, and that go-getter, truly, owners of the brand. And so everyone really acts like that.
I love it. Have you figured out how to screen for that when you're hiring new people? It's really hard. We talk about this a lot.
Really hard. And I've made mistakes.
Sure.
We've had employees that I was so excited about, and
Yep.
then, I probably called and told you all about them, and then within 3 months, things didn't work out, and we had to let them go. So I've made mistakes along the way. I think the key is just, firing fast. Things, if you're not seeing results or you're not seeing that level of work ethic. But for the employees that have become really valuable to the business, almost all of them we've never had a recruiter.
Wow. Wow.
All of our employees have either reached out to me and wrote me like a DM on Instagram or Twitter.
Wow.
And
That's so cool. Yeah.
wrote a really personalized, like well written, compelling email or message or whatnot. Or I've found them both for people who, maybe aren't looking and aren't just applying and throwing their resume in there. I'm looking at, all right, I want this role, and this is a brand who does that well,
Mhm.
that are working at those companies, and try to.
Yep. So what's next for the brand as I know right now everyone is like really focused on holidays and and of course Black Friday. Oh, you know what? Let me go back and scratch that because I don't know exactly when we'll air this. Let me ask that question again. So, Sarah, what's next for the brand as you look out to 2026? What's on your mind?
What I'm most excited for is, like, our product development pipeline is so exciting. Like, I wish I could just share everything on here, but we have some really cool, really exciting products in really fast-growing categories. Really, the focus, again, being on what can we tell a story around? Like, what really fits with the brand? What is our customer.
Mhm.
We have a really exciting pipeline of new products that I'm so, so excited to launch in 2026. So that's the biggest thing.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then figuring out TikTok, like that's
Mhm.
really fun. I think that there's so much psychology behind virality. And it's so interesting to me, like seeing which hooks work, and like making tweaks based on what's working and those first 2 seconds and the text that you choose to go on screen and the sounds and everything. So that's been like really interesting and fun. And I think there's just such a huge opportunity to unlock growth there that I'm very fired up to continue just testing and learning.
Do you have a view yet on like as you build up the brand on TikTok, like are you trying to send people to TikTok shop or to Amazon or to Walmart, or like is that still something you guys are figuring out?
So TikTok is definitely can drive growth and velocity in retail. We've even seen
Uh-huh.
it, of course, it'll think essentially if someone finds you and discovers you on TikTok, they're going to buy it wherever it's most convenient for them.
Okay, yeah.
TikTok is very much prioritizing TikTok shops,
Yeah.
and they are really, in terms of the algorithm, like I think there's a lot of fit to prioritizing TikTok shop products, shoppable content on TikTok. TikTok doesn't want you leaving TikTok, you know? So being on TikTok shop, posting and linking shoppable content, I think
Mhm.
best way to really drive conversion.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Okay, so for entrepreneurs who are listening to this, what would be your top piece of advice?
So,
Easy question.
is it people who are considering entrepreneurship or
Well, that's a good question. How about yes, someone who's thinking about maybe is thinking about taking the leap or early on in their entrepreneurial journey?
just my advice is just like to keep a learning mindset.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have so much like to build on that, but keep a learning mindset. Like your first 6 months, treat it like a pilot, like it's a test.
Yeah.
Don't commit. When I see people going out and spending 6 figures on a branding agency, I'm like, don't do that. Like, you
Yes, this is
use
so good.
everything. And don't go pay $50,000 for tooling, custom tooling for your packaging. Like, get a proof of concept out there. And maybe it's like 75% done, but it's better to just get out there and get those learnings, because we changed so much in that first year, and I would have been really regretful had we paid for a branding agency or something like that. So,
Mhm.
and take a testing mindset. You don't, and everything doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have this $100,000 beautiful Shopify website. Just build it. There's so many templates. There's so many tools. Chat GPT, like you can do so much with so little. I took an Adobe Illustrator class on a weekend and figured out how to design die lines, and that's our
So good.
packaging. Like there's so much you can figure out on your own. Do not break the bank on, you know, stuff that is probably going to change really quickly. So that's number one. And overall, just maintaining that testing mindset and not never, ever resting on your laurels because this is the whole game is things change so fast. Someone that grew and scaled and sold a business 3 years ago, their advice today is almost irrelevant because things have
Mhm.
changed. There's entirely channels like meta advertising looks completely different. The market, this D2C CPG landscape changes so quickly. If you do not have that constant testing mindset and constant looking out for what's next, you're going to get left behind, and that requires just a constant curiosity.
Yeah, it changes so fast. On your first point, one of the things that we didn't spend a lot of time talking about, but I think is extremely important, is your business is incredibly capital efficient. You have raised very, very little money over the course of the business, which is unusual, especially for someone coming from a venture background, right? Who has access to, to those conversations. And I think that it says so much about like the importance of great product, right? Really strong product market fit, that scrappy mindset, right? Like knocking on doors. And that is how you build the real customer love that you and the team have done.
Yeah, I agree. It's been a superpower, honestly.
Yeah, it really is.
Course, at times I'm like, "Ugh, I wish we had capital or outside funding to
Right.
do these big flashy things." But no, it's really been a benefit. I think if you really zoom out, being
Mm-hmm.
efficient and scrappy and mindful of every dollar, I see every dollar that goes out and
Yeah.
every dollar that goes in, and we make decisions. We're limited in what we can do, and that's actually proven to be an asset.
Yeah.
We're not
That's
able to
terrific.
chase every shiny thing, and I think it's worked to our advantage.
Totally, like, really forces a focus.
Mhm. Yeah.
I love it. So great. So great. Okay, so last question for you. This has been great. Thank you so, so much. What is your single favorite Curie product?
Our deodorant, our aluminum-free deodorant is the most effective aluminum-free deodorant. If you've tried other deodorants and they cause rashes, irritation, or they don't work, like, that is what we built this company for. It's most of our 80% of our customers are switching from another aluminum-free brand because there's a lot out there and they don't work.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
our product is effective. It smells incredible. I'm wearing our Santal Sage scent today,
I
which
was
is
gonna ask you that, which scent?
it's like Le Labo-esque, like Santal 33, but a little bit more fresh, like what you would want in your armpits, which you wear on your skin
Mhm.
totally different than what you would want in your armpits. So we designed this. We use this. We work with this incredible scent connoisseur named Anne Gottlieb. She develops all of our fragrances, and she knows how to make a scent that smells beautiful, but also like translates well under your armpit, which is it's an art. And so Santal Sage is just unreal, especially this time of year. So that's my personal favorite, but also Cherry Woods is our newest one that we launched with Anne, and it's equally just beautiful. So those are my top two
Love it.
favorite Curie products right now.
Amazing. Super. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. This is terrific.
Thank you. This is so fun. Thanks for all the thoughtful questions.
If you liked this episode, find more at cxtinvestments.com and on Spotify. And follow me, Tina Bou-Saba, on LinkedIn.